So you're going to open this one, huh, Joshua?
I am.
How's that going to work?
How is that going to
Just watch.
Joshua Sugarfire is going to open it. Who we got? Oh, we've got Mopac Jack in the room. He's always in readers' comments.
Why don't you raise the camera
So
up?
you're opening it tonight, ready?
Yeah.
Stopwatch is going. We got good
Not
sound
yet,
ready to go.
No, I was thinking.
And you're going to do all the introductions.
Yep.
We've never done this. Let's have some fun with this tonight.
I'm sorry.
All right, guys, somebody give Joshua a countdown.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
The What's Neat This Week video podcast is supported by enthusiastic model railroaders just like you.
These are anyway.
Further support is provided by Microengineering, keeping you on track with quality products for 55 years. Check out their website at www.microengineering.com. Order from your local dealer or order direct by calling 1-800-462-6975. And by Intermountain Railway Company, where the detail makes the difference. Check out their website at intermountain-railway.com. Additional support is provided by Yelsma Graphics, America's leading distributor of quality railroad art and embroidered clothing since 1985. Check out their website at yelsma.com. Further support is provided by the NCE Corporation, the power of DCC. Visit their website at ncedcc.com. And thank you for supporting the What's Neat This Week podcast.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the What's Neat This Week show, number 172 for October 9th, 2021. I'm your courageous co-host, Joshua.
Sugarfire Barton.
And with me, as always, is our courageous leader, Ken Patterson. On the other side of him, we have Mike Budde.
Hey, everybody.
And on this side of me, we have Daniel Coombs on this side of the
everyone.
camera tonight. And running camera for us tonight and hopping in occasionally will be Campbell Rice.
Yes, Campbell, you did a
Hey.
fabulous job. I said it about the September 11th show. Your opening was absolutely just amazing.
It was very, very good. So tonight we have a lot of things to talk about. Ken has a bunch of stuff that he wants to go over. Mike has some cars as always, and Daniel has this nice engine that he wants to discuss.
Actually, 3.
Three
counting the
engines.
two.
I like those two Union Pacifics.
Me too.
So we're going to go right into Ken's first thing here, and it's going to be these microengineering.
First, you know what? I want to talk about something that was really cool. I showed you guys a video a few minutes ago, and that's where we did an Ahearn photo shoot, and the job was to do a rotary snowplow. And how do you shoot a rotary snowplow out in a switch yard? I mean, it's sitting there dead. I think the answer would have been to actually turn it into some magic and make it look like while the rotor's spinning on the machine is actually throwing the snow. And the idea was to do a shot like this in HO scale, outside in real sunlight, like you're accustomed to seeing me doing. But this time we were going to animate it. We had to hook up DCC to it just to get it to spin. I wanted that effect so that it would blur on film. It would create that really cool effect. So this diorama I'm going to show you right now is of that photograph setup that we had done. I might have already started rolling this, in fact, as I'm talking, because it's quite interesting in that what we did was we took a brass wire, and we curved it right off of the rotary chute onto the side as per prototype photographs, and the idea was to take the cotton, blur it a little bit, and it would look okay. That would have been a shot we would have done in the 90s and called it good. But now with the advent of Photoshop, we were able to add some more life to this shot. So the basic setup is basic, but let me show you the final photograph, the way it turned out. This is what we call three-dimensional model railroad art. And this is where we are, in fact, artists. I mean,
What
we
a
do play with
difference.
trains.
Yeah,
There's
absolutely.
those guys that want to come home from work and watch the trains run. You were just seeing that outside. But this is for the folks, and I know various ones. Rand Hood is a good example. So many different names of modelers out there that try to perfect the model railroad shot to realism. Let's not forget Vic Roseman, an absolutely magnificent model builder and photographer. In fact, he's a school teacher. He's a great guy. I got to meet him once, and it was like meeting a rock star for me, because it was that 1979 HO scale Walther's cover of Claiborne Station up in Chicago that he had done using a pinhole lens.
Yeah,
And I'm going to show that shot on the screen. It was one of the most magnificent shots, and that's the kind of photography that motivated me to turn this into something to serve the industry. Thinking that similar to a serving suggestion on a box that you see in the grocery store in the frozen food section. You dump open the box. The photos are beautiful, but when you open it up,
It don't look like
you
that.
got a bunch of blocks of ice, right? And so the answer to that was to create serving suggestions, I thought, as a pitch to the companies. But what we were showing was three-dimensional artistry, and that's what model railroading is for so many people. It's literally you're building the painting before you actually put it on the wall.
Absolutely, yeah.
And it's a wonderful way, and this is one photograph. I'm going to talk about another photograph later in the show because I've done a lot of box art. And when I show some of these photos, you guys will recognize your boxes sitting on your shelves. So with that, Mike, what do you got going on, brother?
I got a few vehicles here. I always got trucks. People seem to like the ones I bring, so I got a whole case of them here, but I'll just show you a few at a time. This one is an Ahearn truck, the body with Ahearn frame, and then this is an old Matchbox cab, and it's cast resin. I
I've
cast
got
it.
one of those trucks over in my
Yeah,
match.
yeah,
What is that?
those
That's
are
the furniture? The
Number 48 refrigerator
number 48.
truck.
Yes.
GMC refrigerator truck. Yeah.
I love that cab.
And then I put mirrors on it and everything, and with the Ahearn box, it looks really nice. It's a little bit under scale, but it's still. I have a soft spot for those old Matchbox trucks. This one is a step van, Chevy step van from Greg Dixon up in Pittsburgh, and then the decals are from Stan Yadlowski, the Snap-on tools.
That's nice.
And that's an unusual,
That's nice.
neat-looking model that not many people have. And
Yeah.
that red was
pretty cool.
my first experience with Vallejo paint, and I really like
nice.
it. I mean,
That paint goes on smooth, doesn't
yes,
it?
it does,
Yeah,
and
it
it's
sure
so
does.
opaque, and smooth. I mean, it is really, really nice.
I'd
So,
like to have a few of those and turn them into food trucks. to put on my
yeah,
layout.
yeah.
That
Well,
would be
Greg
nice.
Dixon
Yeah.
has them.
Vallejo paint is respected in our industry as being one of the number one, and they make acrylics.
Absolutely.
I've seen in fact, I've talked to them once about possibly doing, back when I did
Yeah.
ad photography, I discussed things like that, and on the early What's Neat shows, I thought about bringing those folks on, because when we do have a show where we can actually interview people,
Yeah.
they'd be a great guest.
Yeah.
I can't really find a lot of Vallejo here in St.
They
Louis.
have Mark Twain. That's where I was
yeah,
getting
they-
mine.
yeah, yeah.
But yeah, they're limited distributor, I guess.
definitely.
But I guess people are airbrushing, and I just used a brush to do mine. So, and in the background is a Southwestern Bell truck. This is one that they put in Railroad Model Craftsman.
Oh, wow, okay.
In October. I just happened at the RPM in St. Louis last July. I just happened to be set up next to Jesus Pena, that is a friend of Harry Wong's,
Yeah.
and he was photographing the show for Railroad Model Craftsman. So he
He had those really cool boxes that you can
Yes.
store your
right,
engines into.
right.
Oh, I
So,
remember
like,
seeing that. Were
Yeah,
you talking
yeah.
about the laser cut boxes?
Yeah,
I
yeah.
talked to him
those are
at the
yeah.
RPM meet.
Yeah.
He was a really nice, it was an ingenious idea.
Yeah,
It was a way to
definitely.
transport.
Yeah,
Yeah,
models.
but if you're only going to take 2 or 3 engines to your
Right.
club layout, you don't need a big setup or one of
Right.
those huge suitcase boxes. You know, that
Right.
was. So what about this Illinois Central Caboose?
yeah, that's really what I've been working on
That's
the last
that's the
3
orange
weeks, I
elephant
guess.
in the room.
Yeah. Centralia Caboose. Why don't you tell us about it, Campbell?
Well, that's kind of my little project that I kind of got with Mike Budde on. Yeah, in case you didn't know by any chance, I am an Illinois Central fan somewhat. That kind of grew up on the Illinois Central, G&O area. And as an HO modeler, I've always wanted a Centralia Caboose. And they're just not out there right now. So, if you want something bad enough, you'll make it yourself. And
Hallelujah.
that's kind of where I'm going. So I got with John Fowler over XYZ Creative.
Yeah,
Yeah,
John, shout out to you.
Yeah,
Yes.
so I got to seeing some of his 3D work with his cactus and some other
Right.
things, and I'm like, which is right next
Those
to you
are
there.
right next
Yeah,
to Mike.
yeah,
Grab
right
those.
here.
Mike.
Grab those.
I
Couple
can,
of those.
they're kind of
And,
stuck, but
I
here
thought,
they are.
Yeah, they
Man,
are.
if he can do that good on cactus, he ought to be able to help me out. So I got some actual drawings that I found on the internet. They had the actual schematic sizes, and I had a friend of mine that works for CN actually get photographs of the whole caboose. on everything, top, bottoms, sides, and everything. So I've got John Fowler doing the caboose, and then I got with Keith Hapes over at Plano,
Yes.
and he's doing the detail. So I wanted something that was accurate, that looked good, not something that was, halfway done right.
It
So
looks
Right.
awesome, dude.
so in the process of getting it together, I told Mike, I said, Mike, take this and put it together and tell me what you think. I've asked him several times, what can we do to change this, or what do we need to do to make this work? And of course, Mike's given me some good feedback on it. And I asked him, I said, well, Mike, so how did it go together on a scale of 1 to 10? 1 being the easiest and 10 the hardest.
Well, just the body one. I mean, it was I didn't have any directions go, so I was just looking at the parts, but
you haven't written the directions yet.
No.
Sometimes you gotta be creative.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's pretty easy to figure out how to put the parts together, because the tolerance is very well done. I mean, the things just like snap together. You almost don't need any glue on the basic body of it. And then the cupola was another piece, and then the 2 roof pieces, and then all the detail parts done by Keith at Plano, and the deck, on the ends.
Right.
And so that was the most tedious part, putting those things together. And one reason was I already had these porches built on both sides, the real distinctive feature of the Centralia Caboose. And then I realized I had to drill into them to put all the grab irons, and they kept breaking out and everything. And if anybody gets one, pre-drill all your parts before you build it.
Well, I can attest to the scrutiny that you two have put over this caboose, this poor caboose over the last few months.
Yes,
and I mean it's beautiful. I mean it's well worthy of sitting on this table.
Well,
much
I
do you want for
appreciate
it?
it.
Yeah.
Well,
Is it for
I'll
sale?
Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do my first batch of 50. And I'm gonna.
So you're gonna sell them built?
I'm gonna sell them unbuilt.
Okay, as kits.
And they will come. Customer will have to assemble them, because I haven't got that kind of time. So I will be offering these up. I'll probably put them on eBay or something. I'm still a couple of months away, but I wanted to go ahead and announce it and show it so that you can get it on your
Sitting
Christmas
amongst
list.
a manufacturer.
Very cool.
No. So
Campbell
that's where we
Industries.
go. One thing about the 3D, while we're talking about it, is a lot of the thin plastics sometimes will warp. And these walls on this thing are probably a good 1/8 or 1/4 inch thick.
Yeah, but then around the windows you got them coved out, so they look real thin through the windows.
So it's real heavy duty,
right?
And we should not have any warping issues, because that was one issue I wanted to go through to make sure that we didn't have any problems with that.
Yeah.
So you'll probably be hearing some more things from me when I get everything together and get it finalized. But that is the first prototype. So
And that's a lot of room in the inside of it to where you could fully furnish it, or you could put a decoder if you wanted to. I mean, there's a lot of things that you can do to modify that.
So true.
That's very, very
Possibilities
cool.
are endless in that project.
So I'm proud of the way it's turned out. Mike, you did a great job putting it together.
Thanks.
So
Thanks. It was fun. I've always loved that caboose, and I always thought it'd be so cool to have a job, be able to stand
sit on that
inside
porch,
there, watch the train, the world go by, and be getting paid for it.
They came in so many different paint schemes, and actually there's CN has some in the brown out there now. So, and then as well as other roads, Mid-South, and a few others that took them and painted them.
You did a good job on the windows too, those silver grommets.
That was just done with a silver Sharpie. The kit came with pieces of pre-cut plastic that were the size of the window. Then I just took a silver Sharpie and went around the edge before I put them on there.
It looks really
real
good.
nice. These were decals, and I think he said he's going to try and make all the windows.
Right. I'm going to try to do the decals for all the windows.
Yeah.
Nice.
And if you want it patched, then you can put a piece of styrene over it, because a lot of them now are patched.
Right.
Yeah.
And those decals are from Dan Kohlberg.
Yes.
There's a lot of hands on this model. A lot of different folks are helping you with this project.
Yes, it is. And
That's the wonderful thing about this hobby, is that's the way the startup mom and pops work. They work together, and they're usually a team of different people with their specialties.
Yeah, and I'm already planning my second release. So if
That's
this
awesome.
goes well, I want to run a total of about 100 of them, so we'll see how it goes. It
Stay
just depends
tuned,
on the
everybody.
Order, you know?
See what's
Yeah.
coming out next.
Yeah, that's right.
Another startup company that started a long time ago was microengineering.
Yeah.
And I've got some of their towers tonight to show off on the table. What this is the 150-foot span bridge. And I was thinking about building a diorama for shooting some models outside
Hey,
with
that's
this.
a big bridge.
And the
Dang.
deck sits on top like this. Again, I think this is the 150-foot long span. Now, microengineering's website's been down. It's been actually hacked. So you can't look these up on the internet, but the best way to look for all the different types of microengineering bridges would be on in the Walters catalog, because that's where they're well represented. That's one of their largest customers, and they're one of the best distributors of the microengineering products that we've got. You could also get them at Spring Creek Model Trains out in
Right.
Desert, Nebraska.
That's right.
Now I've got a really tall viaduct here.
Oh my
This is
goodness.
only the 3 spans. This is a 5 span. And simply all this is this is one of these 3 span bridges, and microengineering makes an add-on piece here. 2 more stories, so you can make this a 5-story
Man, that
span.
is really nice.
Oh man. Anyone building big,
And so
big
this is what it
mountains.
looks like with the 3, and then this added to the bottom.
Wow.
So you can have a huge.
Right? Just like something to this effect. It's the same gig.
Okay.
Well, and then think about it. If your hill goes up from these two, then you could have these
Right.
and double
Yeah,
or even
shorter span.
triple the
And
length.
these-
So if you were making a deep canyon,
Yeah.
I mean, the endless of, and you could just simply cut them as the ground goes up. You don't have
Right.
to usually use the box and stair step it up. You could actually let the contours go smooth and then cut these and put concrete piers under each section.
Right.
Do you know when they started building structures of this type instead of the
Early
more
1900s.
Well,
isn't
these
it?
were more than likely started out as cast iron structure, and then they would have moved it up to steel girder.
Wooden? Okay.
I mean, these were built as early as the narrow gauge time. There is, in fact, one of these bridges, the 3-span bridge here, is actually in southern Missouri. And Ron Rands is a pilot, and he loves flying when he's not making track
Yeah.
and doing
That's
things.
a-
And they flew over a part of Missouri and found this bridge and photographed it, and then that's when they got the idea to come out with the kit.
Yeah.
Huh.
Neat.
That is great.
But it's
That's so
actually a
cool.
standardized structure. These types of bridges are built all over the country.
Yeah.
It's a standardized structure. There just happened to be one here in Missouri that's down south.
Man, that lattice work, these beams are
Yeah, they're
really
very
detailed
cool, very
too.
intricate.
I mean,
yeah.
Like you can see all the pop rivets that they
right.
put on there.
Yes.
Yeah, those
Nice.
are neat.
Daniel, you got excited because you brought some engines tonight. I know that you were talking about the Bicentennial Ahearn engine here, and there's something going on in the prototype world with that, isn't there?
Yes, there is.
Tell us about it.
So our good friend Stephen Priest.
Oh my God!
Oh,
Hats out
yeah.
to Stephen
I know.
Priest. He was on the RPM show with us.
Yes, he
What
was.
a great guest!
I know.
And he
I
is
know.
a definite respected person in our industry that's going to do big things for our hobby. You watch.
His
Oh, yeah.
wife and his son as well.
There's
Yeah.
some new stuff coming
Well,
down.
I'm glad you said that. He's doing a big thing here. So from press release this week and on his personal Facebook page, you can also look this up. The Southern California Railroad Museum adds a ATSF Bicentennial SD45-2. So they've resurrected, or they've saved a locomotive that was in the blue bonnet, SD45-2. They're going to repaint it in a 5704 Bicentennial scheme and donate it to the California Railroad Museum when it gets finished.
Wow.
I only got some basic information on here, but let's see.
I think it was originally a Great Northern, maybe number 608.
I don't know. This is only a brief article I found on trains.com, which is also, I think, related to Kalmbach Publishing Company.
Yeah.
So I guess these guys were the
I
first
think
ones
Santa
to
Fe
get
had
it.
5 or 6 of these.
They actually
they did a
had
fleet of Bicentennials.
5.
Did they have 5?
Just 5,
Huh.
5700 to 5705.
They're beautiful models.
They are.
And they're hard to find. Thank you, Daniel.
Poof, right there. You're welcome. So I just thought that was pretty cool to announce to say that they are restoring an old locomotive. And so now moving on here to the right, two Union Pacific recently released from Ahearn Genesis. Well, not released, pardon me. These were a year ago released on the announcement, and then they just finally shipped out. Radio controlled units, the GP38-2 and then the GP15-1. As you guys know, I modeled Union Pacific sort of 1970s up to the modern day of seeing, I like to model what I see basically. And I've heard that coming from you guys, and I just thought that these two locomotives would be cool fit for the railroad I'm modeling, and I can actually have something in my yard that can be dedicated to just yard service. So if I feel like I want to operate, I can just have my
Yeah.
big road units taking the road, and these guys are in a pair, of course. I programmed the wonderful Tsunami 2 decoders that come factory equipped with these, and I adjusted the sounds and whatever to kind of make them run and act like the real units. One other cool thing I want to point out real quick, the beacons on top to indicate the RCL operation. So when they are on, that means that the engineer can have his remote anywhere, the switchman, brakeman, who is, of course, allowed to operate the locomotive from, I think, 150 feet. I think it might be the range of that remote.
Is that DCC?
It is DCC. They come
Remind
in.
me what they're using.
What's that?
I'm talking about the radio unit. It's a fascinating technology, Daniel.
Yes, it is.
And it really describes, so many railroads are doing that now, where you're literally standing trackside and running the locomotive. And it's a fact is, that's what we've been doing for years.
Yeah.
I
inside.
have pictures, and I can give them to you and show them right here of that device that they wear. It's a vest, and it has everything.
All the controls.
Just
Yep.
kind of like our NC. It just doesn't have the buttons to program different trains, you know. But it's neat. It's very
It's a
neat.
mini proto throttle.
Exactly. Yeah, that's what it is.
Yep, it's
So,
very cool.
There was a gentleman on that Zoom call that I talked about last week on Lionel Strang's show, where if you belong to his Patreon account, you get the Wednesday night get-together that they have. They've got a name for it.
There's tons of people from all over the place.
One
I
gentleman
know.
from Australia had created a handheld throttle like the proto throttle is to diesels. He made this one for steam, and I found
What?
it quite fascinating. Wow. Just amazing. And in fact, he says if he ever made it commercially, he wouldn't charge people. He'd want to just give it to them because he's so proud
Are you
of
kidding
it.
me?
Wow.
No,
Wow.
serious.
Not that
That
would
is-
ever happen.
Oh,
to be
well,
nice.
you know,
Yeah.
there's too many knobs and levers or a steam
Well,
engine.
that's
It
It's
was,
too
like-
much money
it was
to
literally
Yeah.
a throttle that looked like the back head of a steam locomotive
Dang.
with the appropriate controls.
Yeah.
It was
Wow.
it was very
Neat.
interesting.
Very
So
cool.
made me talk about something I didn't have on
He
script.
should
Yeah, there you go.
He should give the schematics on how he built it out on the internet so we can
Yeah.
all build it, you know?
You know what? Yeah, make it open share.
Yeah.
One thing that James Regier did last week was talked about those 3D printers. I want to give a shout out to James. He's not here tonight. They're getting ready to move from one home to another right now. But fantastic job, James, on the 3D printers. I mean, you really knew the material. You knew specifically the sizes and what they did and the various types, whether it's resin or filament. We all learned something.
I really want this Mono SE. I think that we can get some really small precision parts out of there. And
Well, I think
You
we're
know?
going to get one of these, and we're going to do a What's Neat video to show how to set them
Nice.
up and how to
would be
use them.
pretty
cool. Yeah.
Just
Sweet.
like I did with the Dremel 3D printer. If you guys look at the December 2015 What's Neat video, there was a Dremel ID 3D builder scanner, or it was a filament printer. We showed the unboxing, we showed the setup, we showed how to use it from start to finish, and then we showed it how to hook it up to a computer program to do graphic drawings, and then download the drawing into the machine and print that out.
but how long ago was that?
I think that was 2015 December. It could be 16. I already wrote
So-
on the
It was
text what it
15.
actually
So
was.
I mean,
Was it?
that was
Yeah.
6 years ago. Think of all the technology that's came since then, you know, with that
That's-
big,
Yeah. Oh,
bulky
yeah.
Dremel.
True.
I'm thinking that these are like kind of condensed printers.
Definitely.
I think it's a subject matter that warrants further discussion because it's always changing. It's constantly evolving, and it just seems like the crispness of the models are getting better as you go
Oh,
into
yeah.
the resin type printers.
I would
Yep.
definitely like to see the trial and error that I would personally take because I've never done anything like this, and you know, being a complete newbie, I don't really know any CAD programs or
I
any
figured you were
things
going to
like
buy
that.
one this week because last week you were like, James was talking and you were like taking
I'm,
notes.
I'm so on the fence. It's not even funny.
Well, we're lucky to have James, you know, learning all this stuff
Yeah.
for us. And
Yeah.
so we're that much ahead when we do get one
Yeah.
of these.
But I definitely would like to, you know, see how
Yes.
easy it is or hard it is for me being very not knowledgeable of it to go into it.
Right.
James
yeah.
is the first person I've ever known personally that actually 3D printed a locomotive, but not just the body of the locomotive. He actually did the gears and the gearboxes.
frame and
Yeah.
stuff too.
The
yeah.
frame was a Bowser
And
frame
the
Okay.
that he printed out
Oh, yeah.
gearboxes
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
trucks, the whole bit. I mean, why not use a commercial set of gearboxes? No, it was easier for him to draw it and print it. What does that tell you about the technology?
Yeah,
If
right.
it makes things easier to do where we're not going to dismantle another locomotive and use the gearboxes from
Yeah,
that,
right.
then it must be easy.
Yeah,
Or
right.
James
I'm-
must be really
I
smart.
mean, just take for
He
instance
speaks
that,
5 languages.
Yeah, that little car that he made for James Wright. I mean,
Right.
The trackmobile.
everything that he shoved into there to make it be all it could be.
That's what makes this so amazing to do this show is that we've met folks like James Regier and we're richer for it. When I started doing magazine articles, Bob Schleicher teased me in my real estate office back in 1990 or 97 or somewhere like around that time. Well, I'll let you know who Mike Budde is if you do an article for me. Did I just do it in his voice? That's
Yes.
Bob Schleicher.
I think
God
you
love
did.
him. I love Bob Schleicher.
Yeah, good old Bob.
But he said literally he was bribing an article for me to be able to meet you. Is that's
Yeah.
how we got introduced.
Right.
And previous to that,
And
we
we
had
lived in the same town.
we had a photograph of you, and I don't know where it is, so I'm not even going to bother try to screen roll
Yeah.
it. I don't want to take a week looking
At
for it.
one of the-
You were at a Great American Train Show,
Yeah.
and we had the Midwest Valley Modelers layout set up.
Right.
And you were a spectator.
Right.
With much darker hair and a black leather jacket. You had a black leather jacket
did
on.
I?
Yes.
Oh.
And we were
Yeah.
just shooting random shots of people in the audience because we like doing that for the scrapbooks.
So I knew when I was never much to hook up with anybody. Then I was kind of a lone wolf.
So was
but
I.
the first
We
time
all
I
were.
saw that Midwest Valley Modelers layout, I said, man, these are the guys I'd like to hang out with.
Thank
and then
you.
by 1998, man, I was on the inside of that thing in Kansas
So
City. And
I had watched you guys I'd watched Ken for years and years, and I knew he lived in St. Louis, and I found his address, or what I
Yeah.
thought it was.
Yeah.
And I drove down on a Saturday night, and I went right to the front driveway, and my nerves got the best of me, and I turned around. And then probably 5 or 6 years later is when I met Austin. And Austin's like, yeah, I go over to Ken's all the time.
No
so I was
kidding.
like,
No
Austin,
kidding.
Wow.
So we could have
Well,
known
You
you
drove
5
all the way
years.
down here.
I did.
And turned
But
around.
I mean, you were a
Stalker
huge,
is a stalker.
you were a huge influence in my model railroading, and Mike wasn't, and
Dude,
and
we're all just people like you.
I
Dude,
know. Well,
You're
after
sugar
I,
fire. You're my buddy Sugar Fire.
but
Don't turn around. Just come up and knock on the door
Yeah.
or walk in the basement. We have security in case there's something foul.
Since I walked in that door, my life has been completely different.
Okay,
You know?
stop it. I do not. That's okay.
Yeah.
So on the table here tonight, we have the NCE Throttle.
Which we're going
Yes,
to use
we
to
do.
run
And-
into trains in a few minutes.
And I absolutely love mine. And I took one apart and I warped
Painted
it
it
a
green?
little bit. I painted
Oh,
it
yeah.
green and
Oh my God.
distressed.
Tell that story because we haven't shown that throttle.
Well, I
have
really
a few times.
wanted to
Yeah,
have
we did.
something different, you
Yeah.
know. So what I did was I took the top off. I warped it a little bit here to make it look like it had been hit by a hammer and metal, and then I painted it green and I distressed the sides of it with silver,
Right.
and then some rust colors to make it look like it
It
had
looks
been
good.
sitting in some dump right next to right next to a train that I could operate with it, and that was
Right.
the whole mind frame for that. But I really enjoyed doing that, and I have
we
two
just
more. I
shot a lot
probably
of
need
video.
to do that too in different colors. But I love mine every day. I just got an upgrade kit. I got the smart booster for it. I have not set it up yet, but I'm looking forward to learning all about the new booster and everything.
Yeah, we're going to go run some trains with those in a few
Yeah,
minutes.
what do you got
All right,
there?
we're going to talk about
What's
some
this?
bridges tonight. I know we just talked about microengineering bridges, but I have, over the years, I've done a lot of product box art. So your box is sitting on your shelves in your basement or your garage. You're going to recognize a few of the photographs. I'm chewing a pile of boxes now because one time I made a shot for my website back in 1980, or let's think 1997 or thereabouts. And one of the projects, one of the very first, I did a lot of Bachmann train sets previously. One of the very first real horsepower photographs where I'm trying to do railroad art three-dimensional, like we discussed with the snowplow. I got assigned this job for the Wathers Lift Bridge. It was part of their bridge series where they actually came out with various types of bridges. They did a swing bridge, which I'll show you some photographs of that in a daylight shot. This diorama, I literally walked along the Mississippi River to look at how the banks mud was stair-stepped up as it laps in and out, and I wanted to build a diorama that way so it would give the bridge that credibility of looking prototypically accurate, that the surrounding terrain and topography matched right. And so here's another shot of that bridge with a sunrise. It's one of my more favorite shots. But let's get back to the very first box art job that I really did for Wathers It Counted. And I'm going to show you some setup shots. This is early on. I realize I do look much younger. This was in 1997, so this is, some time ago. And one of the things that was stressed into my head by a lot of the magazine editors is you need to go out and buy a 60mm macro lens to shoot model photography. And so, saving up over a period of X amount of months, I spent the $600 and bought this lens. And I thought, ooh, I've got this now. I'm going to do this box art.
So
I
that
know
was-
what I'm doing,
so that was
right?
top of the line back then, right?
I know what I'm doing. And what the problem was is the 60mm lens makes it look like you're looking down a tunnel. So
Yeah.
if you're looking down a tunnel at like you're looking through a tube of paper towels
Telescope.
at a model
A kaleidoscope.
outside, it's going to look just like that on the box art. It's
Yeah.
going to look far away. It's not going to look decent. And I was absolutely petrified that I wouldn't be able to pull this job off and I might have to give their deposit back. Not good. So what I did was I started pulling out the various other lenses that you don't use for model photography. And guess what? The 35 to 70 zoom turned out to be the magic lens because you could get that camera right into the scene tight and the bridge is now overwhelmingly surrounding you. That's box art, not looking down a
Yeah.
paper towel tube at
Absolutely.
something at a distance. And this is where the magic came from, where I finally figured out what lens I could use for virtually every photograph and every ad that I've ever done. With regards to model indoor shoots, it's better to go with some wider angle shots because the rooms and the scenes are tighter and you can bring them right home. But this 35 to 70 is the magic bullet for doing these photos that I've done over the years. And I'm going to show you some of the bridge shots if I haven't already. There's some shots here with our Midwest Valley Modelers paint scheme on it that was copied after the General Motors blue and white demonstrator paint scheme that they had. I took a one of those Canadian national, what do they call them, like barns? Cowl units.
Yeah, cowl barns.
Draper tapers. This was a Draper taper in brass from Overland Models. I had 2 of them, and what I did was I cut out the center windows. There was 4 windows. I cut them out to make them 2 on the front. There goes the value of those models,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And then I put the paint scheme on it, and I dropped the Midwest Valley Modelers decals on it, and those models went back up in value immediately.
Wow.
And there's a lot of different shots I did with that lens, even the ability to make the bridge look like it was wide open, complete. I'm showing you that shot right now, lifted up. You couldn't have done that with a 60 millimeter lens without being 25 feet away from the diorama.
Yeah.
And at that point, you're losing all of your sharpness in the shot. So I'm only showing all these photos because it was a photo shot from a long time ago. And it's really fun when I get to show shots like that because it gives folks ideas, different ideas on how to work with their model photography. And that's what this is all about. The best
right.
hobby in the world,
Yes.
helping some of the best people, our friends, you out there, do what we try to do and just have fun doing it. It's 3-dimensional art and it's wonderful. And at some point, there's going to be enough people that have got enough work that we can actually have a gallery somewhere in a museum. Some very beautiful photography that's 3-dimensional art. This isn't just model railroading. This is art.
Certainly
Did I
is.
get on a soapbox?
Yes, you did. Yes, you did.
Rock and roll. So
all right.
we're at 30 minutes, guys, going around the table. Is there anything else we've missed tonight?
Nope.
I
None.
don't think so. I think we've covered just about everything.
That's
think we
easy.
have.
I love it. Best hobby in the world. Joshua, close it out for us, buddy.
All right, well, go watch the October What's Neat. It'll be out here in the next week or so at Model Railroad Hobbyist. That's where we went to the RPM meet and we had all that fun. And
Oh, yes, I
we were
remember
both
that.
on it. So
Yeah.
You guys
It's-
opened it?
We
did.
You
We
guys
closed
closed
it.
it?
Yep, it's finally going to come out, and I'm ready to watch it. So,
That
too.
N-scale layout that was in there was absolutely amazing.
Yes.
Code
Oh,
40
that-
rail.
Yes.
Detailed layout.
Hand
where they-
laid.
Yeah.
yeah,
Just
I
absolutely
mean, there were
amazing.
so many neat things. Steve Hurt bringing some stuff. I mean, everybody that was there. It was a wonderful, wonderful time.
Talking about like Steve Hurt, like Rad McGuire, the military modeler from
Yes.
Alabama.
Oh.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I mean, he was showing me all his projects,
That-
what he's got going on, and
Yeah.
he showed me some upcoming projects that he doesn't want me to tell anyone quite yet, but
He's
he will show it off
amazing.
later.
His stuff at the RPM meet, and then he paid a visit out here with us on Wednesday.
Yeah.
And he shot 2 videos for us. The one that's going to be running in the November What's Neat, where he exposes about 50 of his best military models that could either act as loads or be used out in the field.
That's right.
And actually, he tweaks them differently because the models that are loaded don't have all the guns on them openly, the machine guns, all that stuff is
Right.
stored away.
Yep.
So when you model those type of vehicles, he shows us the differentiation of a freight car load
Right.
and a battle-ready model.
Right,
And he's good at building both.
And there's a lot of differences and nuances that you wouldn't think of.
Yep.
You
Right.
know?
Just like shipping vehicles on tri-lanes.
Right,
you know,
right,
all the
right.
Differences of
Those
new
buses.
cars. Yeah.
All right. Thanks for watching, everybody.
Thank you,
Thanks for
guys.
letting us into your house. Have a great one.
Are we
Make su-
going in people's houses?
Well, I mean, they're letting us in there right now. We're on their big screen TV. We're on someone's 80-inch big screen.
That's
watch,
We're at the
watch
party.
the road.
Yeah.
Watch the road. Don't look at the screen on your dashboard.
You shouldn't be watching us while driving. Please don't.
Don't.
But thanks. If you like the show, hit like right underneath on YouTube. Send us a comment, a message. Check us out on Facebook as well.
And click the bell to subscribe to every one of our new videos we'll post up here on the site.
That's right. See what Campbell's going to come up with next.
If you want some What's Neat memorabilia, or otherwise known as swag.
That's right.
Sugar Fire swag.
I
That
love
rhymes. You should have Denny Yelsman put your names and everything on these black things you wear to work.
Yeah, I wanted a racing
What's
jacket with
Neat logo on
Sugar
the
Fire
back.
and have all of
Yeah.
our logos and stuff everywhere. Yeah, that'd be
It's getting to be jacket season, and we're going to
That's
start
right.
getting the What's Neat logos on jackets all around the country. We want them at train shows.
Absolutely.
We want that branding like we had at the
Yeah,
RPM meet.
bring your swag to the shows.
It was
Let us
so.
see
We
it.
can't close this one out because I keep talking. It was
I
so
know.
amazing that Denny Yelsman gave us all those hats.
I know.
I mean, that
the
was like
$100 that you
$1,000 in
handed out?
hats
Wow.
to give
Yeah.
out at the show.
I was at the
to
train
just
show today,
promote
and
what we
Larry
do.
was there, and he had his What's Neat hat on, and he was representing. He saw me from across the room and said, "What's neat, Josh?"
Yeah.
It's like, yeah. All right. Well, thanks for watching, guys. We're gonna go run some trains, and we'll see you next time.
Yes, we will. All right.
Keep rolling camera, don't stop camera. Okay, we're gonna do the thumbnail.
Yeah, sure.
What did we just do?
I don't know, but it was funny.
It was good,
I
man.
enjoyed it.
For somebody who said they weren't gonna say anything, Jesus.
And we want to
We
stand
got
up and
you to
hold up
smile.
something.
Got Ken to laugh.
Oh my
Hey, let's
God.
all stand up and just hold up something at once.
Did I say I wasn't gonna talk on this show? I just didn't feel that well tonight.
Is it gonna cut our heads off? Do you have it down low?
Are we standing up? Why are we standing
Yeah,
up?
I don't know. Why not?
I mean, pick some model up and stand up.
All right.
We want to sit down or what? Hold something.
Put that, yeah, put that on.
Will it block you?
No.
Not if you're standing up.
Oh, if I'm standing up.
Perfect. People are gonna watch this and think we just make up this show as we go along.
Don't we?
Beep. Did you hear that ding of the bell right there? Okay, now you guys are set. What am I
I need to
doing?
put the caboose up there on the caboose.
There you go.
Be
Yeah,
careful.
yeah,
put
do
it on
it.
there.
You want
Do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Stable, I hope.
All
You
right.
got to take some more pictures.
All right, everybody.
All right.
Smile and wave.
Alrighty.
All right. Cool. And we got that done. I think I did okay on this and my engines, but